You've heard it said that weak Catholics become Protestants and strong Protestants become Catholic. I want to change it up a little bit. I want to say this. Weak Catholics become Protestants, strong Protestants become Catholics, and weak Protestants become mega church pastors. Before I get started, I want to give props to one of my subscribers, the King's Lady, for bringing this latest megachurch pastor who renounced Christ to my attention. The King's Lady wrote a very thought-provoking, very honest assessment of this former mega church pastor, Ryan Meeks, who now says he renounces Christianity. He's no longer a Christian. He's exploring his spirituality by taking LSD, mescaline, ecstasy, mushrooms, and he's a life coach helping other people explore their spirituality, taking drugs. So I've been waiting to do this video because I wanted to break down in the Bible where this guy was mistaken. But what I'm gonna do is going to be two parts. I'm going to do a Bible alone video on Sunday that you'll want to watch because I believe this is how all these mega church pastors fall. You see, because they're all going by Bible alone. And like my guest I'm going to have on the show tomorrow, Steve Ray, said, you know, Catholics, we have a three-legged stool of authority. We have the Bible, which is our authority. We have the magisterium, which is the bishops of the church. And we have sacred apostolic tradition passed down from Jesus, down to the apostles, down to us for 2,000 years. We have a three-legged stool. We have a sturdy stool that Christians have sat on from 32 AD till now, and they will continue to sit on until Christ returns. Our Bible alone Christian brothers have a one-legged stool they're always falling off of because it's Bible alone. I really wanted to do this video and show you why Bible alone is such an easy doctrine to overcome if a Protestant objects to it. But I'm working. I only got a few minutes before the stop opens, so I need to make this quick. But tune in Sunday, and we'll show you how Bible alone cannot stand up using the Bible alone, which is ironic. But even a stronger argument is going to be tomorrow when I have Steve Ray on, and he's going to give you the defense of the faith against two of the strongest Protestant objections. So I like to give street fight analogies. Sometimes they're a little brutal, but I grew up in the inner city in Jersey, and I've had a lot of street fights, and street fights are brutal. So I'm going to give you an analogy. What Steve Ray is going to do to the Protestant arguments on Saturday is a throat strike. And they're going to fall to the ground. And then on Sunday, I'm going to stomp their Achilles heel so they don't get up. And these three arguments we give, Saturday and Sunday, should be enough for you to defeat any Protestant evangelical in a debate about our faith. But now getting back to Ryan Meeks, Pastor Meeks, he said the moment he decided he wasn't a Christian was when one of his staff members in the church came out and said she was gay. And he said, I always felt uncomfortable preaching against homosexuality, even though the Bible teaches against it. He says, but just because the Bible says gay people suck doesn't mean I believed it. He says the Bible says a lot of things I don't believe. It condones slavery. It condones rape. So let's just stop there for a minute. Number one, the Bible doesn't say gay people suck. The Bible says engaging in homosexual sex is a sin. And the Bible does not condone rape or slavery. I've made videos in the past debunking this myth. One of them is called, Is Bill Maher Right? Does the Bible condone slavery and rape? And it's easily defeated once you actually read the Bible in context. The Bible talks about rape. It talks about slavery because this was common then. So the Bible's a real book. It talks about real things that are happening in history. It wasn't, it's not just a made-up comic book. It talks about real-life situations. So if you want to see those arguments debunked, check out Is Bill Maher Right? One of my videos. I'll see if I can get it to pop up at the end. But the whole reason this guy fell is because he's on a one-legged stool. You know, he's going by Bible alone, and according to his interpretation of the Bible, he's like, well, there's some fairy tales in here, some true stuff. Like, he's just picking and choosing what parts of the Bible he's going to believe and why he wants to believe it. And this is why there's 42,000 Protestant denominations all claiming they're based on the Bible alone, because they don't have the two other legs of the stool to guide them. 2,000 years of church history, which we call apostolic tradition or sacred tradition. The bishops, the magisterium of the church, which Jesus gave authority to in Matthew chapter 16, verses 18 and 19. So this is why so many, and I'm not like relishing that this guy fell and he's, looks like he's on his way to hell. Pray for this man, Ryan Meeks, that he repents and sees the truth. I just want you to be aware, because there's a lot, I was baptized Catholic. I never really went to church, and then I became an evangelical. I really didn't understand the faith. Please teach your children the faith. Please teach your friends and family the faith, because the only people trying to pull us out of the faith are evangelicals, and their faith is weak. It's on a one-legged stool. Now, I didn't say all weak Protestants become pastors. I said all weak Protestants become megachurch pastors. I know some very strong Christian men that are pastors that have dedicated their lives to serving God and barely get by making a living, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these megachurch pastors. What kind of man is driven to become a megachurch pastor is usually a weak Christian. I'll just give you a quick analogy. I had a subscriber write to me and say, he's a young man and he's in sales and there's a lot of money to be made, but he realizes in sales there's a lot of temptation. And there is. I've been in sales. There's a lot of temptation to exaggerate, to lie. And I gave him some advice. I'll leave that for another video. But this is a young Christian man, and he had the humility to understand that we're sinful, that we need God's grace, that there is temptation, and he wanted to be careful. He wanted to be careful just in general in life, and I give this kid a lot of props, and I'm very proud of him that he calls himself a Catholic. And he was very smart. Yeah, there is temptation, and so he's being cautious. The guys that I know that I've seen become megachurch pastors, there's no humility. They just want to run a big church. They want to be famous. They're good talkers. They want all the attention, and it's easy to do. But if you're, I heard a pastor say one time, the greatest saint in the world is probably someone you don't know, because they're humble. These pastors are not humble. These megachurch pastors, they want all the spotlight, the attention, and they don't grow in their faith. They don't grow in humility. And you see it, and you see so many of them. And again, I'm not relishing that this guy fell. I'm warning people, this is what can make us fall from anywhere. Pride cometh before the fall, And this guy wasn't grounded in the traditions of the church for 2,000 years. He's got this Bible alone theory, so all his teachings are new. Oh, I just interpret the Bible as I want. Oh, I don't agree with this in the Bible. But he never learned why the church teaches what it teaches, The Bible didn't give us the church gave us the Bible. And our evangelical brothers and sisters are missing out. They're missing out on this blessing. So this is why I think megachurch pastors fall, because the wrong guy becomes the pastor. And you even see it. I was an evangelical for 30 years. I know what I'm talking about. You even see in their seminars, like pastors I know would go to seminars, they train them like they train CEOs. And most CEOs are sociopaths. Not most CEOs, but a lot of CEOs. I actually know some Christian CEOs. I take that back. But they say a lot of CEOs, like 25% of them, are sociopaths. They can't feel other people's pain. They just want to win. They just want to be in charge. It's that certain type of personality. And you see this. So they want these guys, as they know they make good CEOs, because they're going to get it done. They're not going to let their feelings get in the way. They're not going to feel empathy. They're going to do what has to be done. And all these seminars they give, they're like training CEOs of corporations. They're not ordaining men of God like St. Paul told us, Timothy, pass down the traditions I passed down to you to other men, and find godly men and ordain them, bishops. And he gives requirements for bishops and elders. So the mega church system is just like, find somebody that can grow this church, make us money, and it's basically they're salesmen. They're salesmen, but unlike that young Catholic man who had the humility to know there's temptation and he didn't want to give into that temptation, and he asked me if he should find another profession, these guys don't care about the temptation. They live extravagant lifestyles, and, there's no humility. And you just see it. It's blatant, I'm not judging their heart. I'm judging, Jesus said, judge the fruit. You can see by their fruit, their lifestyles, and so many of them. I think I made a half dozen videos about mega church pastors leaving, saying they're no longer Christians. And there's a lot more. I don't talk about every one that I see and read about. So whether you're a Catholic or an evangelical, tune in this weekend to Steve Ray tomorrow morning. We're going to do like we do. I'm going to record it and upload it. Lord willing, to be uploaded by noon. And tune in Sunday. And I'm going to take this video to the next step that I wanted to, about how the Bible alone leads to Christians falling away. The Bible alone leads to pastors renouncing Christ. The Bible alone is an unbiblical doctrine that was made by man. I'm going to prove this to you. And if you're an evangelical, watch it so you can see our strongest arguments. And if you're an evangelical or a Catholic, you're pro-life. So if you're buying or selling real estate, go to Real Estate for Life, and you'll be guaranteed a pro-life realtor. This market is red hot. I don't know if you've went to Zillow and see what your house is worth, but it is red hot. You might want to cash in on your house, and if you do, you're going to want an honest Christian realtor who's pro-life. So go to realestateforlife.org and tell them Blue Collar Catholic sent you. God bless and stay Catholic.